Yesterday, I uploaded a video where I explained the principles of Cloud World. It is a situation where most people are willing to believe satire without questioning it too much because the real news is so outlandish, is so bizarre, that when you are presented with satire, you're like thinking, oh, well, this is probably just part and parcel of living in an American city. Like, for instance, 30 years ago, if you were to say that there was a satanic statue in a public place in the United States, no one would believe it, right? But now when you say it, people are like, well, it's probably the Democrats, isn't it? I mean, well, you know, it's their culture. It's what they do. It's like they make satanic statues. Someone beheaded it. I mean, obviously a hate crime, you know? If you do something against the Democrats, it's like... Now, of course, you know, the people that built the statue are Democrat officials, but they are Democrat sympathizers, right? Like, they do vote in that way. And I haven't heard the Democrats disavowing. Have the Democrats disavowed? Like, no. Honestly, you know, when something happens with the right-wingers, like, there's an army of microphones. It's like, but do you disavow? Do you stand for? Do you disavow? Isn't this what happened with... DeSantis? Like, every single time Trump would tweet something, like an army of microphone from reporters, like, but do you disavow? Do you stand with that? Are you okay with, you know, someone is protesting somewhere and they're having like a hate symbol, immediately like, DeSantis, do you disavow? Do you disavow? Where are the reporters asking the Democrats if they disavow the statue? Because I understand, you know, the person has the right to place it there, but does Nancy Pelosi disavow? Does Joe Biden disavow? You know, why aren't the reporters asking the tough questions? Because every single time like something happens, immediately right-wingers are always consulted. Regardless of what it is, right? Like the moment you have one right-winger saying something or doing something which may be legal, then immediately ask, but do you disavow? Do you stand for? Do you disavow? It's kind of like saying the N-word, isn't it? I mean, technically you have free speech. You're supposed to be able to say whatever you want. But if a right-winger would say that, immediately, like DeSantis, do you disavow? For some reason, the satanic statue, like, that's fine. So you have, like, one person that decided to behead the statue and is now being charged with a hate crime. Now, if you actually follow the history of the Satanic Temple, you would notice that these are a group of atheists that didn't really like the piety warriors during the Bush era. Like, they didn't like the hyper-religious people that were trying to push intelligent design in schools, that were doing, like, all of these Jesus camps and all of that stuff, right? So they're basically saying, okay, well, now we're a religion as well, right? Like we're the Satanic religion, and we're pretty much about free thinking and finding our own morality and doing our own things, right? But unfortunately, they ended up from being like rebels to actually being part of the establishment. Because I remember during the pandemic and during COVID, if you wanted to enter the Satanic Temple, which was, you know, the institution that's all about fuck the man, it's like, oh, you need to be like double masked and you need to have like your triple Pfizer communions and it's like, well, at this point, can you actually say that you're an anti-establishment movement, right? Like, literally everything that Fauci was saying, the Satanic Temple was like, all right, well, let's write it down, because it's Fauci. It's Fauci speaking now. Like, he's speaking. What? It didn't come from Wuhan. It didn't come from Wuhan. We can't call it the China, but no, we can't. And it's kind of like that, right? So, this is why I can't take them seriously anymore. Like, when they initially started, it did look like a group that's trying to troll the establishment and being against the man, but they now have become the man, right? So, their whole shtick is to troll. Their whole shtick is to gain public attention. The only reason that they put the statue there is because they knew that right-wingers would freak out, right? It's kind of like putting a racist statue in the middle of a socialist convention. It's like putting a statue of Thomas Jefferson or the founding fathers in the middle of the Democrats. Like, you know they're not going to be able to help themselves for much longer, right? So when someone does something to the statue, immediately they press charges and it's a hate crime. So basically what Mike Cassidy did, which is the vet that has beheaded the statue, is he played into the hands of the trolls. Like, this is exactly what they were expecting. This is exactly what they wanted. And now they're going to be in the center of attention because it's in the mainstream media, and this person is going to have his hearing on February the 15th. So the Polk County prosecutor charged Cassidy with felony, third-degree criminal mischief, and saying that he acted in violation of individual rights under Iowa's hate crime statute. Cassidy had been charged with misdemeanor, fourth-degree criminal mischief a day after the beheading of the statue, and had been informed that he may be liable for future charges. So they're willing to throw the full might of the book on him, right? Because the way the left does things, like when the left removes a racist statue like Thomas Jefferson, they use the institutional powers to do it, right? Like, they play the long game, they infiltrate institutions, and then when they do it, it's legal. When you have like a satanic statue being placed into a public building, the normal way would be for the right-wingers to also infiltrate the institutions, to also start doing, the long game, the long march through academia, to do all of that, and then take down the statue legally. But obviously, it's a little bit more difficult, so like when one person does it, they want to make an example out of it. Because like, this is what it is. It's like, don't fuck with us, we're in power. This is the message that they are doing, right? Like, they're putting a statue that they know is divisive, that they know it's inflammatory, and it's not just towards the Christians, mind you. All Abrahamic religions do not appreciate shaitan. And they do it specifically to be antagonistic, right? I don't know why right-wingers don't do the same, though. Like right-wingers should try to put racist statues next to leftists so that when leftists do something, the full extent of the law comes down. But, it is what it is. I mean, the War of the Stone Men did take place during the pandemic, right? During the U.S. riots. And many people have defaced and destroyed statues, and no punishment was given. I mean, if the right-wingers aren't willing to pursue charges and they're not willing to stand their ground, well, you're going to get just a one-sided conflict, because the conflict is here, whether you like it or not. So, apparently, the spokesman for the Polk County Attorney Office said that evidence shows that the defendant made statements to law enforcement and the public indicating that he destroyed the property because of the victim's religion. The thing is, like, they genuinely don't worship Satan, right? But legally speaking, it is a religion. So, there you go. Hicks further elaborated on how much it would cost to replace the statue of Baphomet constructed by the Satanic Temple, which would be between $750 and $1,500. The extremely litigious Satanic Temple had filed their own damage estimate, saying that it's $3,000 to replace the statue. My conscience is held captive to the word of God, not the bureaucratic degree, and so I acted, Cassidy said. He has raised $84,000 for his legal defense team, and apparently he's going to fight this in court. Now, again, the solution would be for every single reporter to go to any Democrat that they see, any single person in office, any single Democrat, and put the microphone in front of them, and it'd be like, do you disavow the satanic statue? Right? And they would say, well, it's legal. Yeah, but saying the N-word is legal as well. Wouldn't you disavow that? Oh, you disavow that, but you wouldn't disavow the statue? Like, put them in a position where it's difficult to explain themselves. Because a lot of the Democrat supporters, people who are Hispanic, African Americans, they're very religious people. And, what the Democrats like is to have, like, the Satanic Temple trolling the right-wingers and doing this while being separate. While maintaining the distance. And it's like, well, I mean, we can't control what they're doing, right? But in reality, you notice that every single time the Satanic Temple is doing some activism, it is in favor of the left, right? So it's attacking right-wingers. So you need to put them on the spot. You need to be like, do you disavow these people? Or do you avow them? And you'll find very interesting responses, I guarantee you. Let me know what you guys think, though. And as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.